Hi everyone, I'm Jenna from Susquehanna County Tree Hub Workforce. I'm coming at you today for our virtual workforce workshop Wednesday. That's a tongue twister, too much to say, but all of our counties at Tree Hub Workforce, we are doing Facebook workshops each day of the week. So Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, you can find a virtual workshop from our counties, Wyoming County, Sullivan County, Tioga County, and our county. So you can find all of those on our Facebook page. We'll be sharing them each day that they are posted. And you also should give all of those pages a like too, so you can keep up to date on all of their workshops and everything else they have going on. So I am coming at you pre-recorded today from my office, which is the great outdoors today. It was just so beautiful. It is still so beautiful that I just had to get outside. So this is my office and I can't complain. Love it. Sun is out. It's a beautiful day. Kind of helps you forget about all the craziness going on for a second. So if you hear any outdoor noises, or there's about 10 chickens running around, so if you hear any chickens, you know why. So our workshop today is going to be on conviction statements. Now let me rewind a little bit. Although I am pre-recorded, I'm still going to be active on this workshop. So although me right now that you're seeing is yesterday, I'm still going to be active in the comments on this workshop. So if you have any questions at all, please feel free to ask them and we will try to answer them for you in the comments. I wanted to come at you live, but the logistics of that are a little scary. So here I am. So back to conviction statements. A conviction statement, for those of you who haven't heard of it, is a great tool for anyone who has any charges in their past or a criminal background. Basically anything that an employer is going to see and can find out that could prevent them from hiring you. A conviction statement is a tool that can definitely help you in those situations. So we are going to get started on this PowerPoint. And once again, any questions at all, please feel free to go ahead and ask in the comments because we will be here with you. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about our staff and how we use this information with conviction statements. So as I said, I'm Jenna. I am the site supervisor for Susquehanna County and also the job developer. The rest of our staff, we have Brittany Miller. She's our youth career advisor. We have Paula Shoemaker. She's our adult career advisor. And we have Joni Mazikowicz, and she is our dislocated worker career advisor. So Brittany and I are located in our Montrose office, and we run what is called the ACE program. So the ACE program is once a month. We get inmates from the Susquehanna County Correctional Facility. They are brought to our office for 3 days of a week, and we go over all kinds of reentry things with them to help them when they get out and are going to reenter into the community and in the workforce. So we work on all sorts of things like resumes with the background and interviews with the background, triggers in the workplace, all of those things you're going to need to know getting back into the workplace. And conviction statements are a big aspect of what we do in that program. So we're just here to share a little tidbit of that with you. And we will probably do more workshops of that nature as time goes on. But if you have any questions on any of that, don't hesitate to reach out to any of us. So that's kind of how we've gained this knowledge firsthand from our inmates or people that we've helped with backgrounds and a lot of research, and it's a really great tool. So let's get into it. What exactly is a conviction statement? If anybody knows, you can go ahead and put it in the comments if you know what it is already. A lot of people have not heard of it. And up until I started doing this program, I hadn't heard of it either, but it's a really cool thing. So a conviction statement is essentially what you want to make of it. This is a tool that's going to be your chance to explain your background to a potential employer, or really anybody you need to send this letter to that's going to say, okay, listen, yes, I have a background, but let me explain it in my words, because anybody can look up your background, and I'm going to show you just how easy that is on the next slide, but only you can explain it firsthand. So you want to give yourself that chance, and a conviction statement's a great way to do so. So another thing a lot of people aren't exactly sure of is what your charges are. So if you aren't sure, you can look at this website right here that I've linked, and I'm going to put the link in the comments for you guys to see. You can go on there and pull up your background and see exactly what anybody can see, exactly what an employer can pull up, or anybody. So I'm going to show you right now just how easy that this is to do. I'm going to show you a real life example. My coworker Brittany gave me her permission to pull up her background. So I have permission for her to do that, and it's going to show you firsthand just how easy it is for somebody to pull up your background. So there's the link we clicked on. All you have to do is go to participant name. You type in their last name, their first name, or yours if you're looking up yourself, date of birth, as you see, she's got a birthday coming up soon, so feel free to give her a shout out on Cinco de Mayo. Then you hit search. And here we have it pulled up. We click on this little button, we say docket sheet, and here we have it. Her record right here. Now, another little life lesson, this is what can happen if you don't pay your parking tickets. So she also did give me permission to say that. So you can take this as a lesson for that too. But that just goes to show you just how easy it is to have somebody see your background. So, you know, let me pull that back up for a second, because I want to see what exactly Brittany's charges were, because that's another important thing is you know, there's all these big fancy words and lingo, and a lot of us don't necessarily really know what that means, and that probably includes employers. So they might look at this and it could sound really, really bad, but they don't actually know what it means. Now, hers says parking violation, so that's kind of self-explanatory, but once again, this was literally just because she was parked at work, got a parking ticket, and did not pay it on time. So even parking violation sounds a little more intense than what the situation actually was. So it's another really great idea to actually learn what those charges mean. Sorry, I have to get back to where we were here. Okay. So now you can see how easy that is, and just know that it's just as easy for anybody else to do for you. As we said, your offense may not be as bad or as serious as the actual charge sounds. And the really important thing about this conviction statement is if an employer is going to give you a chance, they're going to appreciate your honesty. Unfortunately, some employers are just not going to give you a chance. They're going to see that background and they're not going to care what you have to say. You're not going to get a chance. But if an employer's like that, we always say that's probably not a place you'd want to work anyway. So being upfront and truthful and honest is always going to play in your favor. It's so helpful for you to explain yourself for that reason, because you're explaining it in your eyes, and you're holding yourself accountable, and that's really important. is being accountable. Accountability is so impressive to so many people that getting that second chance can be owed a lot to accountability. So we say explain yourself, but there's a lot of things that you don't want to do when you're explaining yourself. Number one is place blame. You never want to place blame. Even though it truthfully might be somebody else's fault, it sounds so bad if you come off right off the start and say, I didn't do it, it was my cousin Bob, you know, he made me do it, he did this, or it was the police officer, he was totally wrong, he was totally, you know, that might be true. And if it is, it's going to come off as so without you getting defensive. Because people who get super defensive and get into so much blame just sound bad, even if it isn't true. You know, we have some people in the office sometimes who instantly do that, instantly defend, instantly blame, not just in reference to backgrounds, but even interviews or even just talking to somebody. If they come off and start blaming somebody else right off the bat, it's just an instant turn off for anybody. So try not to place blame. I know it's hard because sometimes it really isn't your fault, but the more accountable you can hold yourself, the better it's going to look. So you don't want to get into too much detail either. We say explain yourself, but that also doesn't mean, you know, yeah, when I was 16, I broke into a gas station with a hammer and I robbed the front desk with a weapon, and then I ran off with $800, and then I ran a stop sign, and details like that is a little bit too much and not something most people need to know. So you want to be short and sweet about it, to the point, and we have some great examples at the end that can kind of show you that. You don't want it to be too lengthy. That goes into the detail part. So once again, short, sweet, to the point is our motto for these things. And you also don't want to focus on the past. So a key to a conviction statement is focusing on the future. What have you learned? What have you overcome? We've had a lot of people say when we've discussed this, I'm who I am because of this. I wouldn't be who I am without my past. So you take ownership of it, you take accountability of it, but you don't focus on it. We're moving forward. And we will get into that as the slide goes on. What you do want to do when explaining yourself, which a lot of this we've already discussed, but take accountability. I can't say enough how huge that is. Take accountability. Some of the most impressive things I ever hear from people is before we even get into conviction statements or anything, you know, we like to learn a little bit about people's past and their backgrounds. And when people just come right out and say, I made a mistake, that's so impressive to me, that just owning up to it, being accountable, and knowing that you can't change it. It's your past, you can't change it, but you've learned from it. So brief and to the point, again, we can't say that enough either. Talk about what you've learned. What has this made you learn about yourself, about life, about your choices, about what you want to do, what you want to be? What you've learned is huge, and then even bigger is how you're moving forward, how you continue to move forward every day from your past, from those choices, from that decision, from that charge, from that incarceration, whatever it may be. You always want to focus on moving forward, because your past is your past. You can't change it. You can't take it away. You don't want to be ashamed of it. It's a learning experience, and that's the most important thing for others to see. Okay, so when we talk about conviction statements, we like to talk about cover letters too. Does anyone know what a cover letter is? If so, you can chime in the comments down here about a cover letter. We'd love to hear what you have to say. We like to talk about them at the same time because we like to tell people you can essentially combine them. So a cover letter, I ask if you know what it is, but it says here on the slide, so Just pretend you didn't read it if you're guessing what it is or if you know what it is. But a cover letter is a letter of introduction that typically accompanies a resume. So this is something that you can include and should. I always tell everyone you should include a cover letter with the resume because it's just something that gets more personal and into more detail, and you can kind of show your character a little bit more, your personality a little bit more than just stating the facts on your resume. It's not a story, it's not your autobiography or anything, but you can show yourself a little more. A cover letter is something great for if you're switching careers, like if you used to work in construction and you're going into accounting or something. Totally different fields, but a cover letter is where you can kind of show, okay, yes, I was in construction, but while I was in construction, I had to use time management skills. I had to use interpersonal skills. I had to use hard work ethic. I had to use, you know, all kinds of skills that you would also use in accounting. So although they're two totally separate fields, a cover letter is a place you can kind of explain how you can tie it all together. And it's just a great tool to have in general. A cover letter is such a great addition to a resume. I mean, resumes are great, always recommend those, but a cover letter is like a huge one-up, I think. Briefly, we're just going to get in the composition of a cover letter because it is helpful with the conviction statement because the two can essentially be intertwined, interchanged, combined, which once again we'll show. So the composition of a cover letter is important too. And let me know, before I forget, if you're interested in a template for a cover letter, first of all, Google is a great tool. You can always Google cover letter examples, but we also have a template that we created that we can email to you. It's on Word, so you can look at it and it gives you a lot of examples, a lot of explanations, and can help you with a cover letter if you want to write that. So once again, cover letter should be brief. 3 paragraphs I think is perfect. Now, if you're adding in your conviction statement, you might add 1 or 2 more, but 5 paragraphs should be max. You always want to catch the employer's attention. So you start with an introductory paragraph, just a really simple, here's why I'm writing this. You want to include the position if it's a job that you really want. You want to include what position you're applying for, the company, and you want to try not to be too generic. If you're writing a cover letter that you're just handing out to every single employer, they're going to know that you have a generic cover letter, that they got the same one that 10 other employers did. So be specific. That's going to be impressive too. This over here, right down here, just shows you a really brief example of an introductory paragraph. And we leave blanks because you can see how you can just interchange any job. It is with enthusiasm I submit my application for your customer service position at Burger King. With my background in customer service, along with my attention to detail, hard work ethic, and Serve Safe certification, I know I would be a perfect fit to join the Burger King team. So I just made that up off the top of my head, but you can use a template like that for any cover letter intro. Body paragraphs, here's where you highlight your most important qualifications, accomplishments, skills, achievements, awards, anything really important. Now, you don't just want to repeat what you put on your resume because they have that too, and that's just going to be a waste of their time. And that will not be impressive to just have 2 pages repeating what each other say, because these employers and HR people are busy, so they don't want to be wasting their time. Do some research on your company. If this is a job you really want, all you have to go do is go do a quick Google search, find the company's webpage, go to their About section. A lot of companies have a mission statement or their values or their beliefs. So much information about the company, and if you can find some of that and weave it into your cover letter as well, that's going to look really impressive too to the employer. And it shows you did your research and are actually interested in them specifically and that job. This is just a quick example of a body paragraph. And this is important because it shows a person focusing on what they can do for the company, not what the company can do for them. So that's really important too, to show the company that you are interested in how you can help them. It's probably really small, so I'll read it for you, but it says, in my current position, I maintain an exceedingly functional office environment while providing administrative support for a fast-paced production company. I have a knack for problem solving and work well independently and with little oversight. I respond to requests from colleagues and clients in a timely manner and am adept at prioritizing multiple ongoing products. Additionally, I am adept at, list some other things this person's adept at. Then it says, I'm a self-starter and excel at inventory management, meeting support and event planning. I'm also deeply familiar with Microsoft Word, Excel, PowerPoint, and adapt quickly to new programs. As a part of the team at Lyle Tax Professionals, I hope to provide first-rate administrative support and organization to your firm. And that last line is, I hope to provide first-rate administration to your firm. That just shows how this person is showing how they can help them. Closing paragraph, this is where you're summing it all up. Everything you've said, you want to state that you're looking forward to meeting with them, summarizing why you're a good fit with the job. This is a good place to weave in some stuff you found on their website, like their values or their mission statement. A little example right here, once again, that you can enter your own info in. I'm beyond excited to start building or bettering my career, and I can't imagine a better place to do so than McDonald's. I'm looking for an exciting and rewarding professional opportunity, and what's more rewarding than helping others? Or there where it says helping others, you can put in whatever that company does. What's more rewarding than teaching children if you're going for teaching? What's more rewarding than building houses? Whatever it may be. I thank you in advance for considering me as a candidate for this opportunity. I can guarantee that my commitment, enthusiasm, and desire to work with others, once again, those adjectives and the desire to work with others, you can change to fit the job you're applying for. Will proudly represent company. Thank you. I look forward to meeting with you. So that's just a brief overview of the composition of cover letters. We talk about that because we like to combine them. If you're going to give a conviction statement and you're going to give a cover letter, why not just combine them instead of giving the employer another sheet of paper to read, another something to read that will lose their attention, even if it's the most interesting thing in the world? Because I was told once that you have 8 seconds to catch an employer's attention, and that's not very long. So we suggest combining them. They're very similar. So what you can do is in your cover letter, you can just put a paragraph or two that is your conviction statement. And here we have some examples. Now, I know these examples are really small on this little video, I'm sure, so I'm going to put them in the comments. There'll be photos in the comments of these examples that you can pull up and view yourself and save if you want an example. So that should be more helpful than this. I'm sure this is like this big on the screen. So this is a great example of a combination of a cover letter and a conviction statement. There's 2 paragraphs right in the middle that get into the conviction, which, to save you from hearing me read you the whole letter, I'm going to have it in the comments so you can pull up, and I'm just going to read you the conviction paragraphs because this example is really great. We got this example from a workshop that our Tioga County office does, so thanks to them for that because it's a great one. So this person intros into the cover letter and then gets into, in the 3rd paragraph, however, I wish to disclose to you I have a criminal record in which I've satisfied the prison sentence of 8 years, February 2010 to December 2018. I would like to say that this was a period of my life which I am not proud of, and I now feel I have firmly put behind me. I made mistakes from which I've learned valuable lessons. The personal circumstances under which I committed these offenses are also very much in the past. During my sentence, I took advantage of the employment opportunities that I used to gain a productive and progressive experience. The decision to pursue these services have given me the chance to motivate and encourage me to continue making positive life changes. My goal is to obtain stable employment in which I'm committed to, as well as improving myself. I've chosen to disclose my criminal background as I believe it's best to be honest with any potential future employer. I know I've turned things around in my life, and for the first time, I have clear aims and objectives. Based upon my abilities and motivation, I'm hopeful you judge me based upon this rather than my actions in the past. I'm of course prepared and willing to discuss these matters more during an interview. Wow, I love that one. We use that example all the time because it's just such a great example of all the things we talked about. Being accountable, not focusing on the past, talking about moving forward, talking about what this person has learned, talking about how they've grown from this negative experience in their life. I mean, that, and from this, we don't even really know what they did, which we don't necessarily need to. It's just talking about overcoming that and moving forward and wanting to move on with your life. And that is all you can do. That's all you can try to do. And like I said, those people that are going to give you a chance are going to give you a chance. And it's going to be so worth it. So this is a great example of a combination. And it doesn't have to be just like this. You can find some more examples online. You can look at the cover letter template we have, and you can kind of craft your own conviction statement / cover letter to your likings to submit with your resume, to submit to employers, whatever it may be. It's yours to create. And that's why in the beginning I said, it's really what you make of it. There's no specific template. There's no conviction statement template. Do this to make a conviction statement. It's yours. It's your past. It's your present. It's your future. And it's your conviction statement. So it's what you make of it. And these next two slides are just some more examples. These ones are kind of combination of cover letter and conviction, but mostly just conviction. So these are great examples too, but once again, we always suggest combining them. It's just killing two birds with one stone, really. Here's why I'm applying for the job with my skills and my experience, but let's talk about this background that I have too. So I'm not going to put you through listening to me read this again. It's going to be in the comments that you can just click on and read yourself, but there's some really great information in here too, just to highlight some things. I made a mistake, but I've moved on with my life. I've worked hard on moving forward with my life in a positive manner. I wanted to explain my report to you. Talks about why they were arrested and what the charges were. This one really explains in detail the charges a little bit more, which is also nice if you have one of those instances where your charge looks a lot worse than it really is. And if you can explain it in more detail without blaming anyone, then you can take this example and by all means do that, because a lot of employers aren't going to know what they're looking at when they're looking at your charge. So if you can explain it better with facts, not with blame, not with defense, just with facts like this one does, then I think that's a great idea too. Another example, this one's a little bit more lengthy, gets into a little bit more detail. A great line I want to point out: I wanted to take this opportunity to explain how I have amended my life since 2008. What I did was wrong and I was exercising very poor judgment. However, I have made significant changes in my life. So great too. Those are all great things to say. And once again, in the comments for you to look at yourself. But this one is really wonderful too. I've been given the opportunity to change my life and have become a better person who has learned from the mistakes I made in my past. So important. Another example, this one explains it broken down. There's some parentheses, it's another tongue twister, parentheses explanation that tells you what each section is. So this one's really cool too. Contact name, and it lists that. Then it has the next section is admission of guilt. If you were arrested and found guilty or pled guilty, if you have to take the responsibility of your actions. The next section is the understanding section, where your talk, this one says, I'm sure you have reservations in considering the hiring of an ex-felon, and rightfully so. I can only hope to try to explain the specifics and my true regret for what I've done in the past and why it will never happen again in the future. Next, it says sell yourself and has a paragraph about selling yourself. Then lastly, it has an opportunity section where this person talks about having the opportunity to turn their life around and become a better person, a better employee that this company is seeking. So this is an excellent example too. And this breaks it down into sections for you. And once again, this is kind of mainly just a conviction statement, but also really great. And you can weave cover letter aspects into something like this as well. So another excellent example. Okay, just to sum it all up, some do's and don'ts, and most of these we have already talked about, or I've already talked about. I keep saying we, like I'm talking to others, not just talking to myself, but we are here together because you guys are in the comments, and so am I today, even though this is pre-recorded. Do's: hold yourself accountable, take responsibility, talk about moving forward and what you've learned, research the company, always helpful, conviction statement or just a normal job application, whatever it is, research your company. Spell check. Have a couple people spell check. You can send them a picture of it if you're, I know we're all social distancing right now, so if you're not around a lot of people, send them a picture, say, hey, how does this look? Am I missing anything? Is anything spelled wrong? What do you think? If you're home with your family, have them take a look at it. Have a couple people look it over because you don't want grammatical errors. Try to address a specific person. So when you're sending a letter, you want to try not to address it to whom this may concern or anything like that. So once again, do a little research on the website and see if you can find the human resources director, or if this job is on Indeed, see if there's an email contact that it says to send your resume to. Try to address those letters to a specific person. Highlight your skills and accomplishments. Highlight all the good stuff. You know, I know a conviction statement is basically talking about the bad, but there's a lot that you have learned from that, I'm sure. So highlight all the good stuff. Once again, don't place blame or get defensive. Don't get into too much detail. Do not be ashamed. This is something so important that I probably didn't highlight enough, that I wish I did in this virtual workshop here, but we always tell our ACE participants, you know, sometimes you're afraid to talk about your past because you're not proud of it, but it's made you who you are. It's a part of your life. We can't get rid of it. You can't change it. All you can do is learn from it, and I bet 9 times out of 10, it's made you an even better person for going through that and learning from it and growing and moving forward. So don't be ashamed of it. Once again, no typos, no abbreviations, we say no text speak. That means like no LOLs or no whatever abbreviations we're using these days. Make sure you don't have any of that. And you don't want to put the person reading it to sleep. So make it short and sweet to the point. That's why we recommend combining a conviction statement and a cover letter, because 2 letters and then a resume is a lot to look at, and you don't want them to have their attention lost before they get to the good stuff. So try and make it as short, sweet, and to the point as possible. And if you have any questions at all, you can message our page anytime. There's 3 of us that have access to this page, so someone will be there to answer your questions. If you just want more information on conviction statements or have suggestions for other workshops, or interested in maybe some of the other things we do in the ACE program, if you want some resources for where we find information like this, some more examples, or even the templates that we talked about. If you want a cover letter template that you can use, we also have a resume template that we can send. So you can message us anytime. You can always shoot me an email at jdowns@treehab.org. And we are here to help you in any way that we can. So I hope that this workshop was helpful to you, and I hope that you guys are all staying safe and happy and helpful and hopeful. Hopefully this craziness is over sooner rather than later. And if you ever need anything, we are all here to help with anything that we can. So I hope everybody has a great Wednesday and is enjoying this nice weather that we're finally having. And we will see you next Wednesday for whatever workshop we're doing then. Have a great day, everybody. Thank you.